Wynwood in Miami, and you're likely to see for sale and for lease signs.
My biggest concerns are there are going to be a lot of restaurants closing over the next few months. September was down 65% as a whole in the restaurant industry. October was down 45%, and November was down 25%, which worries me a lot because I think that over the next couple of months, we're probably going to have 80 to 100 local restaurants closing. Edgewater, Wynwood, downtown, and maybe a little bit north.
Walking around, I saw 4 signs on buildings for sale or a lease within a 2-block radius.
The rents are getting higher, the margins are getting lower, and the expenses are getting higher.
And several lots are being built toward the sky around the for sale signs.
What do you think the face of Wynwood is going to become years from now?
I think a couple of blocks will still have some flavor. I think the rest of it's going to look like a giant shopping mall. I've had conversations with landlords, and landlords are not planning on any sort of correction. They would rather bring in boring, mediocre investor visa concepts that will pay the rent.
Vendersky fears Wynwood could lose its soul if locally owned restaurants and chefs do not survive development. He tells us over 30 in Miami have already closed for good this year.
They kill.
Khan, Shalom, Shalom. Call Lam La, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Ka'akudash, double honor to the elders and the apostles, great millstone, Shalom. See, I came in the faith, doing the work in truth and sincerity. Salakia. I brought this out of lessons edifying and straight to the point. Inspiration juice lessons from the Lord. Secondly, this is the first thing I opened up my phone to. And this just goes back to what we mean when brothers say, or, through the Spirit, I like to say, bad news for the world. When I say the world, for the people of the world, for the people that depend on this world, for the people that abuse this world and love this place, is good news for us. Because, to them, that's like, oh, man, inflation, this, that, and the third. But, hey, we happy that these things are coming to pass because it's a faith booster. These are prophecies. This is the Lord showing his hand. And this is the Lord showing us more and more so that, Salakia, this is realer than real, and good news for the elect. Lord will not be a part of that number. And you brothers who are listening and learning, in sincerity and truth. Good news for us is bad news for them because we look forward to these things because we know that, it may be bad, it's going to get rough. But we have also a hedge of protection that's coming about, for us because, we're doing what the Lord, commanded of us, man, to the best of our abilities. Book of Ezra, 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 22. And suddenly, man, all the deliciousness, all the, the Happy New Year, all the Big Apple, all the, major cities in America, all the, you see California, man. California is upside down. I don't know if brothers keeping up with California. I'm sure, brothers are bringing out the New York. Man, these places are upside down. They just look good. Like brothers going to, it's all an illusion. It's all a facade. They don't speak about these things. They don't bring to light. Who's doing that? The men of the Lord. The men of the Lord are exposing this place, man. Bringing this place down chip by chip. The scriptures speak about how there should not be one stone left upon that should not be turned. So all the prophecies are going to come to pass. None of these shall fail. So we're going to get into it lower and edifying straight to the point. It won't be long. 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the places of deliciousness, the places of business, the places that flourish. The full storehouses shall be suddenly found empty. Hey, and that's all through what? Order ab Ko. That's through these wicked people, pretty much orchestrating these plans of destruction so the people could feel for it later and having to depend on them. Because what? We know last year and the year before that, we were seeing a lot of, what was it called? Bear with me, Wabu Kashar. Pretty much, the food supply system. We've seen a lot of farms being burnt up. We've seen a lot of grain yards being burnt up. Places where food was stored and meant to be processed and, pretty much marketed and put out there, and to be... We've seen all these things deliberately, being put out. And it was all by design, because we know Moab, they own a good amount of agricultural land here. And we know Esau Edom, he owns a good amount of agricultural land here in Babylon the Great. I think Bill Gates specifically, and we can get that. Just a fact check. What the hell is this? Bill Gates farm land map. Ooh, this man got a map. Hey, that looked like a good amount of Babylon. I'm sure no brothers own that much land, I'm sure no Israelite in Babylon owns that much land. That's I don't even want to do the math, but that's a good amount, man. You know? This devil owns acres in these places, man. So, these what we're going into, man. So, you also have these methods of transportations that were being pretty much put out there. So, not only is the places that store the food are being diminished and being taken out, but also the ways of transportation for these foods, because a lot of food gets transported by trains, and recently we having this bridge epidemic per se, and that's how it goes to show you have to be simple to not catch these things on, because Esau Edom, he putting it in people's faces, man. He's doing these things in groups. He's not doing it sporadically. He's doing it like together. You know, right now the trend is bridges, and before that it was what, train derailments. Oh wow, 22 train cars overturned in Lincoln County. That's the spirit, because I didn't even know this happened. I don't even know this is in Babylon. Lincoln County, Oklahoma. So can't make this up. Call line how about Shy. And really, I was trying to see the other ones from the years before, and I'm sure you brothers are in the know. You guys know what I'm talking about. And now you got this bridge situation. That's why the scriptures speak about how a man shall want to go to a city, he shall not be able. You know? Let's get that scripture real quick. Bear with me over the shot. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and he shall not be able, because you're going to have things like that going on. You're going to have, your different infrastructures that are breaking down. And the apostles was going into it, about, pretty much how this place is decaying. And also you're going to have military troops. You're going to have different zones set up to where people can't travel to and fro. You're going to need that MOTB. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall suddenly be afraid. Hey, don't Joel chapter 2, verse 1 tells us to blow a trumpet. Let me get that in my other app. Bear with me up, Kasha. What's that trumpet, man? These judgments are coming to pass, man. The scriptures, the word of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And when these people hear this thing, they ought to tremble and inquire about how they could be in the best case scenario, man. And that's what brothers are doing through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shai daily. The brother out of Vegas, he used the word galvanize. Brothers, when you listen to these lessons or whatnot, you're doing the work, you're in the spirit, you're galvanizing your mind, to do better. You're galvanizing your mind, to want to be of the elect, to strive for better, for the mastery. Galvanize means to shock, excite, and to take in action. So when we hear these things, through the fear of the Lord, we persuade men. So when we do these things, we're trying to galvanize the minds of our people, the elect, so they can remain in that spirit. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, which is a people before it's a place. Who are the people of Zion? The Israelites, the so-called blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics, and those who are scattered abroad, who may not look like us, but they have our spirit. And through the spirit, we can tell that they're the children of the Most High. Quick example: Blake Griffin, a straight up Israelite, but who don't look like more so of an Israelite. You could say Justin Bieber. Salaki for the background noise. The elements. And sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Sound an alarm of judgments, of prophecies that are coming to pass, man. World War III, the MOTB, the micro C-hip, Jacob's trouble, famine of the word, actual famine, earthquakes. People lifting sword up on one another, man. The storehouse is being found empty. So that guy pretty much said last year in the trend of the Miami restaurants or whatnot, because Miami's a metropolis of Babylon. Miami's and shit. That's not a little deal, because you gotta understand, we don't care about Miami and rankings. We don't care about no damn big cities or whatnot that Babylon the Great has to offer, because there's nothing but debauchery going on. There's no way Miami is number 253. Oh, that's the university. Miami's like literally top 5 cities in the world, man. number 54. That's still the Metro previous ranked at number 6 on the publication. I'm gonna go with number 6. But we know Miami to be a top 10 city, so if Babylon the Great, you know, is struggling like that in one of your top dog cities, how much more so the smaller ones? Because the people aren't making the same amount of money. The prices are going up. So the people are feeling it, the consumers. You had those, going to show you, we can't be ignorant of Satan's devices, man, because these things happen in clusters. And even though it's gradualism and he brings things afterwards, we still got to remember what happened, you know, because these are all going to be in connection, man. You also had the, what they call them things, those crates, those metal crates that sit on those ships, containers. You had a lot of those things being frozen off during the C-19 epidemic. So, and then now you got, what's that sea called? Bear with me. I know it's the Bab and Deb Strait. The Red Sea, if I'm not mistaken. You got Yemen lighting up, you know, them small hat ships and Babylonian ships. So therefore, you know, these people have to go all the way to Africa and spend 3 times the amount of risk, 3 times the amount of money, 3 times the amount of fuel, and 3 times the amount of time. So, you know, those consumers are have to pay for that. Point blank, period. These are the times that we're in, man. Shit is hitting the fan. And, you know, Africa, that has some rough seas. Rough seas, man. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness. As the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and strong, there hath not been ever like, neither shall be there morning after it, even to the years of many generations. Continuing on to the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 23. And the trumpet shall give a sound when every man heareth, they shall suddenly be afraid, and at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and at 3 hours they shall not run. God, and these are what we're coming into, man, with men fighting one another. Why? Because for the lack of bread. Bear with me, Baba Gashah. 2nd Ezra chapter 15. Bear with me, Baba Gashah. I don't know why I be doing that shit right there in my face. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 14. Woe to the world, destruction to them that dwell therein. For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh. So it's coming near, you know, the instrument of the way you're going to perish, man. For those of you who are in the world and not of the elect. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men. So it's going to be uproar, it's going to be anarchy, it's going to be chaos. And invading one another, they shall not regard their kings. Nor princes. So in other words, their presidents, their prime ministers, you know, they're different offices of governors, man. They ain't gonna care about them, man. They gonna say fuck that. People in New York, they take New York Mayor Adams as a joke, which he is. But hey, no, they ain't taking nothing that he has to say or his police into consideration. No, the police getting weaker by the day. You know, once that dollar drops, the police, they're going to turn into demons their damn self against the society and citizens, man. Because police are citizens as well. The only people who aren't known as citizens are military personnel. That's why when they go into the city, they say, you know, it's citizens and it's military personnel. It's no in between. And you got, you know, FEMA. You're going to be activated, martial law. It's going to be all, you got these UN troops. They ain't going to care. For, you know, little Tommy and little Billy and little Ray Ray and Pookie, niggas gonna get shot. See what's going on in Haiti, man. Shit is hitting the fan, man. Destruction is here, man. The end is here, man. It don't matter how you cut it, slice it up. We ain't gonna be here for that much longer, man. Lord willing. We get delivered up out of this hellhole. Continuing on. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And man shall desire to go into a city, and he shall not be able. For because of the pride of the cities shall be troubled. Isn't this a prideful place? The greatest country ever? Doing pride parades and whatnot? Who could stop Babylon the Great? The houses shall be destroyed and the men shall be afraid. So if the men gonna be afraid, how much more so are you women, man? This This place gonna be bad. You're gonna have these strong, mighty men who swore they were big badass Joe, you know, on steroids, 30 million guns. They're gonna be done. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Shit gonna hit the fan so bad, and nobody gonna give a damn about doing someone that they used to be close to wrong. It's gonna be like second nature to them. Con. And I want to get one of my favorite scriptures right here, 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 21. Or one of my most frequently brought out scriptures through the Spirit and power. I'll start at verse 17. Woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? So Ezra knew he was going to be back, you know, here, you know, to come back in his lot. And Ezra is of the elect. Going to show you, reincarnation is real. The beginnings of sorrows and of great mournings, the beginnings of famine and great death. You hear that? Mourning. So people going to be mourning, man. People going to be weeping, gnashing of teeth. Sorrows. People going to be sorrowful. People going to be pain, so afraid. It ain't going to be no mirth in the land of Babylon, man. These days right here, which these people are seeing, is the best days, that they seeing right now compared to what's coming on, man. It might be inflation today. It might be all-out chaos, but they ain't seen nothing yet, man. If they knew what the hell was coming to pass, they would know that this is their golden days. Even though it's not, but just in comparison, man. Great death. So people going to be dying by so many different ways, so frequently, and so aggravated, I would say. It ain't going to be you dying in your sleep. They're going to be getting sliced with the sword, man. Famine. People going to be starving, man. Eating each other. You see what barbecue doing in Haiti. And it's a spirit. It's a demonic spirit which is going to overtake these people, man. Going to say, fuck it. I got some barbecue sauce, but I ain't got no meat. And I know how to start a fire. That's a dead body over there. Let's just go slice that shit up and saute it like a Moabite or an Ammonite. And the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils, bad times. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for a minute, meaning to change. But for all these things, they shall not turn away from their wickedness. So these people still not going to change. They're still going to be as wicked as possible, cursing out the Most High. Where is God? Oh, why is this happening to me? Not knowing this is for their ass to get right. But too bad they're going to get destroyed because their head was too hard to get it. Are sent, Salakia, nor always be mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals, meaning goods. Things like your gasoline, your food, your security, in other words, your defenses shall be so good and cheap upon the earth that they shall think themselves to be in a good case. Because, as we mentioned before, Babylon had a golden era. It had a time where, everything was affordable. Everything was just easy to get by, man, compared to the rest of the world. So, everybody think about their 401ks, how they going to retire, how they going to just live life to the best, And even then shall evil, meaning bad time, grow up on the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine. And the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. You heard that? So for you carnal preppers out there, not that it's bad to, store up a few goods here and there, but if that's what you want to put your faith in and your belief in, you think your bunker is going to get you right, the sword shall destroy you. Don't you know there's a bomb out there called a bunker buster? It goes 30 meters in the earth and doesn't detonate until it gets there. So that's just an expensive coffin, man. So your best investment is to trust in the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Kakwadash, man. To pray you of the elect and to walk as so. Speaking of myself first and foremost. Like the elder Kazakiala out of Memphis or Mississippi, one of the two. Yeah, it's Mississippi. He says, a lot of these lessons that we may do or whatnot, it may be specifically for a brother or to build yourself up as well, These exhortation videos and whatnot, Speaking of ourselves first and foremost. But Lord wanted this lesson was straight to the point and edifying. Lord wanted the point was made. That's the kind of things that are happening, man. Miami, it looks good. People are going on spring break. You're looking at the ocean. You see people going on yachts. That's not what's going on for real, man. Businesses can't afford to stay open because they're trying to make their price on return for profit quickly. Because they're spending so much money and investing into the business and waiting so long to get the thing up and running. So when they do get it up and running, they have to kind of overprice for shit food and for little quantity while they pay their employees pennies on a dollar. So they got to pay for it on the back end. And then Miami didn't let spring break go on as usual because they're fearful of. I was going to show you, these people can't control shit, man. Because if they could, they would have let spring break go on and they would have just policed it. But they can't handle it. But yeah, shalom.